Yes, and how to work with graphic EQ?
Okay, first of all, well, graphic EQs, FX section, and patch rate, these three are on top of the screen, I already told you. So you touch graphic EQs, and these open the graphic EQ screens. How many graphic EQs we have? Okay, we have 32. The answer is always 32. No matter how many auxiliaries you're using, no matter how many input channels, no, it doesn't matter anything. The answer is always you get 32 graphic EQs, okay? But 32 graphic EQs, we know that can be quite a lot to control. So what we offer is groups. We have 8 groups. So for example, in the situation you have today, probably you're going to have left, center, and right monitors, and probably you're going to kill the same feedbacks on the 3 of them. So what we can do is to assign 3 graphic EQs into group A, and this means that just touching one of the graphic EQs, all the rest that belong to the same group are going to be copy and paste immediately. Let's say it's a kind of a gang group. So just touching one, the 3 will react. How you touch them? Okay, you have the on fader option. You press on fader, and this means that you have the 32 bands, well, 31 band, split it in 24 at the same time to control. So you just do your EQ, you have on the scribble strips the frequency you're working on. If you don't like what you did, you can press the mute, and that resets the graphic EQ. Or we have a new feature, what I call A/B comparison. So sometimes you don't know if you improve the sound or you make it worse. So if you touch the selection, it comes to the previous setup. So that's something kind of new we have. And on the graphic EQs, we have 2 different graphic EQs. We have graphic EQ with proportional Q. So let's imagine that we're going to the monitors and we kill a couple of frequencies. Okay, you see on the screen this valley. So we recovered the valley a little bit. That's a proportional Q thing. Proportional means that the Q of that frequency you are affecting is going to be narrow as you get a higher number on the gain, up or down. So as lower you go on the gain, as narrow is the bandwidth you are going to be affecting. On the other side, or the opposite of proportional Q is constant Q. You can change here. And constant Q, look, it doesn't recover the valley. So people say that constant Q is more likable, it's more useful to tune PA systems where everything is a little bit balanced, is about ways, and is about shaping the sound, actually. And of course, proportional Q is more about monitors. So it recovers what's in between the frequencies you're killing because they have feedback. So your lead vocalists or the musicians are not going to complain, saying, "I don't hear anything," because you just cut everything off. And on top of that, every graphic EQ, any graphic EQ can be changed into 8 parametrics. So if you are the kind of guy, I recognize I do, that feels more comfortable doing things with parametrics instead of graphic EQs, you can convert any of the 32 into a parametric EQ, and then you control them with the knobs below the screen, or you can control the parametric EQs directly on the screen. So these 32 graphic EQs can be proportional, can be constant, one by one, you can choose. So if you have some graphic EQs for the PA, those can be constant Q. If you have some other graphic EQs for monitors, those can be proportional. And if some of them you want to do a parametric EQ, you can change it to 8 points parametric EQ, where also, for example, the first and the last parametric EQ, you can change it into a high-pass filter, for example. So you have a high-pass filter instead of 8 parametrics, you have a high-pass filter and 7 parametric EQ. So especially the guys that you want to kill the very low end on the stage, you can do it with a proper high-pass filter instead of doing things on the graphic EQ that everybody have seen we do, taking out the 20, 25, 31 Earth. Okay.
That's cool. And coming back to the graphic EQ, because I could see this adjust thing.
Yeah, we have let's say that we have, if you're going to do a very, very accurate tune of the PA or on a monitor or something, you can do the adjustment here, okay? Instead of using the faders where you lost a little bit the accuracy of what you're doing, you can use the knobs to do the graphic EQ, and it goes 0.1, steps in 0.1, or you can change here to 0.5. So it's a little bit faster, but you lost a little bit of accuracy. So that adjust setting regards how you're going to do the steps on the graphic EQ. And again, if you want to reset it, you just touch there and it goes to 0.